I did the work. I did the work that makes that possible. And now I enjoy it with no guilt and no apologies, and no hesitation. Because I earned every fucking penny of it. Believe me, I earned it in ways that no one even needs to understand the shit that I've had to deal with to earn what I've got. The point I'm making is sometimes it comes down to figuring out how to make the cables fit together.
No, that's great. Real quick, RJon, did you bring your blue backpack? Delisi said she used to keep dongles in the zipper area.
Delisi's been gone for a long time, and so are the dongles.
Okay.
I also don't have a way to plug these in, Alex, to anything that's useful. So I have 2 boxes of crap. I'll be right back.
Sure.
We'll want to do one last video adjustment and then we'll be good to go.
Brilliant.
Let me have you adjust it to your left a little bit because we're seeing a little bit of the corner. Yes.
That
your
way?
left. Yes.
That
Just
way?
a tiny. Yes. Perfect. And then lower the lid just a tiny, tiny bit.
RJon, Adriana's taking you the dongle in about 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow.
Is Heidi here?
Heidi's here.
I'm here.
You want to do some Q&A while I wait for the dongle?
I'm happy to do that. You mean from the audience or from my questions, like getting started?
From the audience, because
Okay.
in 5 minutes, someone's supposed to arrive with a dongle, which may or may not cause the light to illuminate my face so everyone can see how pretty I am. But I still don't have a way to illuminate the backlight, Alex.
So that dongle is going to have multiple ports and you'll be able to connect multiple things on there.
And this is going to connect to my computer, which now needs to go. This needs to go
Plugged into the, that'll get plugged into the dongle as well.
It needs to go on the floor behind me. The computer is
higher. Yeah.
This needs to go down to the floor and then behind me.
That I will need to send you an extension for. That won't be right now.
What have we learned from this experience, Alex?
Ports. When sending things, to make sure that the ports are the ones that match correctly and that we have enough cable length to make sure that we can do anything that we need to do with the items.
Wrong lesson.
As well as testing things the night before when you receive them.
Wrong lesson. Wrong lesson. This is the same lesson you keep not learning. Alex, would you like to get a new SUV?
I would love to.
Then learn this lesson, because this lesson, I promise you, is what's standing between you and your new SUV.
I'm listening.
Well, I'm getting tired of repeating it. The lesson is to slow
down.
Slow down. Don't just go for the adrenaline rush of getting it done. Taking action. Slow down. You went to firefighting school, right?
Yep.
What happens to the firefighter who runs into the building without a plan?
It's the last building you run into.
Slow down. Make a plan. Don't let the adrenaline of riding on the truck to the fire cause you to jump off the truck and run into the building without a plan. You are a very smart, resourceful, creative person. I know that. And I am extremely confident that had you thought this all the way through, you would have thought about these contingencies and realized that I need, see this?
Mm-hmm.
See how long this freaking cord is?
Yes.
Because this cord has to go from the computer all the way to the wall. And if anyone would like to know why I'm not super pissed off, which I'm not, the answer is because all of this is entirely 100% my responsibility. Alex is responsible for Alex's part of it, and I'm responsible for my part of it.
Yes, sir. 200% responsibility. 100% mine, 100% yours.
Alex fucked up his part, and I fucked up my part. So I'm not pissed off.
I've written it under a piece of paper that I have under my monitor so that I have it there constantly as a visual reminder. Slow the fuck down.
Slow the bad word down.
Sorry.
Now you got the editor. Now the editor doesn't get to have lunch because they have to fix this.
Slow down. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Alex.
You want to go to lunch? No, I got to edit this thing out because Alex said the F word instead of bad word.
This is one of those things that I am so happy I don't have to self-edit. I already self-bleep. All right,
Are there
RJon,
any
do you want a
questions?
question?
Are there any questions from the audience that we can answer while we kill time waiting for the dongle?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions that came in overnight, but let
Good.
me
So
ask,
let's
we've
start with
got
that.
some people in attendance. If anybody has a question that you want to add to the mix, put it in chat or in our Q&A. One of the ones we got last night is, if I'm in a niche or a B2B practice area, what types of events or organizations should I be looking to if I don't do B2C?
So every industry, every job, every profession, every industry that I have ever heard of has a trade association. There are so many trade associations. There's trade associations for everything you can think of. And if you are in a particular niche, which you should be, because the riches are in the niches, your clients know where these trade associations are because they're going to these events. And you can ask your client, hey, I would like to get more great clients just like you. Here's why I think you're such a great client. I like working with this kind of industry. I like working with this kind of a business. I like working with the kind of people who are in this kind of a business. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, be real, be sincere, be authentic about why you really like that. And then, you say, do you have trade associations? What trade associations do you go to? What events do you go to? And they will tell you what events they go to because they probably go to trade associations or events. And then you say, do you know anyone at that event who I can talk to about getting invited to come and attend the event so I can meet people in the event? And if you ask these questions, there's a very good chance that your client will say, well, why don't I invite you? And why don't I introduce you around? And why don't you come as my guest? And then I'll introduce you around. There's a very good chance that will happen. And then you've struck gold, right? But that's the answer. If you have this is actually one of the main reasons why it's so valuable to pick a niche. It's because there are people who have built businesses around aggregating people in that industry into trade groups and trade associations and trade conferences and things like that, trade shows. Do not buy a booth the first time you go. The first time you go, just go there to learn, scout it out. think I answered the question. What's
Yeah.
next?
That was great. We have a question from a member of the audience. Real quick, let me answer. They wanted to know, will replays be sent out with or without the F-bombs? We're not sending out typical replays. These are living live on both our YouTube and Facebook channels, so I'll link those in the chat. But we are also turning them into podcast content that will be evergreen. So you will have access to the content, but we're not sending it out in email because we're making it live to the public.
And the bad words will be edited out because this is not. So here's, like, by the way, rule number one of being invited onto people's stages, be they live stages or virtual, is respect their rules, right? When you're a guest, when I'm a guest on a podcast, and Carly will tell you this, we always have like a pre-meeting with the person who I'm being interviewed with. And one of the things I ask is, what are your rules? What can I say? What can't I say? What you want me to say? What do you not want me to say? I mean, they don't give me a script and put words in my mouth, but I'll ask, am I allowed to curse? And sometimes, like, they'll say yes, but the way they say yes isn't very convincing. And so I'll say, well, like, what kind of cursing can I do? And like, they'll say, well, you can say things like this and this, but really stay away from that stuff, right? Or they'll say no. I did a speech one time in Alabama, and I forgot to remember this rule, and well, I actually did remember it's a funny story. Here's the story. I did a speech in Alabama, and I asked, "Can I curse?" And they said, "No, you can't." And I said, "Got it. I'll do it clean." And so I said bullshit a few times because I don't consider bullshit to be a curse word. There's actually a book by a Princeton professor. The title of it is On Bullshit. That's the title of the book. I don't consider that to be a curse word. It's not a curse word. And the person from the law school was like very upset. Came up to me at breaks like, "We're getting some complaints about your language." Like, I really was trying to keep it clean. And like, he could tell I had no idea what I was talking about. And he whispers over to me. He says, "You said the BS word." And I said, "Okay, can I say BS?" And he goes, "Yes, you could say BS." Anyway, the point is, always respect the other person's rules. And I'm on Ivan's stage, and I respect Ivan and will respect his rules. When Ivan's on my stage,
Anything goes. Well, anything that's within your own
My-
personal rules. Yes. Quick note, RJon,
Next
Allie
question.
says that you have a dongle in your book bag.
Allie says there's a dongle in this bag.
She said there's a dongle in your book bag. If that's your book bag, then yes.
Since I'm not 9 years old, I don't have a book bag. What I have is a backpack.
I have never researched the difference between the two, so.
If you're hit puberty, you no longer have a book bag. You now have a backpack. That's the difference between the two.
What if I only carry books in my backpack?
Since you've passed puberty, it's called the backpack.
All right, fair enough. While you
That's-
are searching for your dongle, can I ask you another question?
You're searching for your dongle.
It's too early my time for this, RJon. You're gonna make me
There
cry.
was a song called My Ding-a-Ling. It was on the
Oh,
radio.
I remember that.
Remember?
Oh, wait, no. Was it that one? I remember the Lorena Bobbitt song. Different kind. Okay, let me ask you this question.
Yeah, I'm not finding a dongle in this backpack. Like I said, Delisi's been gone for a while. No one's been curating my backpack.
All right. Well, maybe we forget about it today. Make sure you have it tomorrow. That way Heidi gets a
That's what
chance
we have to
to
do.
do what she needs to do. Yeah.
All right. Let's do it. Any other
Okay.
questions, or else we get going?
We do have some more questions, but let's go ahead and get going. We don't have any more live questions, so these ones can wait till the Q&A session at the end.
Okay, the issue is that any minute now, Adriana's going to show up at that door, and I guess I'll just stop and get it, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, okay. Do you want me to do the intro?
Do the intro.
Do the intro. All right, guys, here's the intro.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Million Dollar Referral Machine for lawyers. This show is for you if you are a lawyer whose work does good in the world, and you know that your law firm could do even more good in the world if you could just attract more clients. It's a fact that lawyers have been using old-fashioned networking to build huge books of business for generations. It's also a fact that it's precisely because so many lawyers have become so enamored today with social media and digital marketing that old-fashioned networking is working better than ever in the legal industry. Networking can be used to reliably build your first million or several million-dollar book of business. It works in every single legal practice area imaginable. It levels the playing field because it requires very little working capital for a small law firm to develop and maintain a highly profitable networking program. A good networking program contributes to being able to have more reliable revenue for a small law firm, which cascades into so many other benefits for the business. And it's fun. Yeah, you heard that right. When done right, networking can and it should be fun, especially if you're an introvert. Hands down, networking is the absolute best way for a lawyer who's an introvert to build and maintain a huge book of business. And now, let me give you just about a minute and a half of background because this show is probably not what you're expecting since it's not really a podcast. This is more of a performance art piece. So Dr. Ivan Misner is the founder of BNI, that's Business Network International, which with more than 11,000 chapters worldwide is the world's largest referral networking organization. And RJon Robins was once a struggling solo lawyer with no money. He used BNI-style networking to jumpstart his career. And today, he's president of How to Manage a Small Law Firm, which with more than 600 of some of the most successful small law firms in the country under management. How to Manage a Small Law Firm is the leading provider of management services for small law firms in the world. So one day, Sir Richard Branson, yes, that's Sir Richard Branson, introduced Ivan to RJon, and they eventually decided to co-author this book together. And to make sure that these two busy entrepreneurs could get their ideas down on paper instead of just having the world's most profitable conversation about networking a small law firm into a seven-figure business, all alone on the beach, they enlisted the support of legendary book wrangler Heidi Justo to interview them both and make this book into a reality. Now, the book is being written in parallel, based on Dr. Misner's amazingly effective book-in-a-box method, which RJon used to bang out the outline over one very long breakfast in Paris. And now Heidi will be interviewing them both in parallel to get their take on each of the big ideas that any small law firm owner can use to build a huge book of business for yourself, even if you have no working capital, even if you have very little free time, even if your law firm is already a seven-figure business and you want to grow it into an 8 figures. And even if you are just graduating from law school, haven't even started your own law firm yet. Each session of this show is going to have 2 parts. The first part will give you the opportunity to be like the proverbial fly on the wall, to watch and listen in as a best-selling book comes to life. And during the second part of each chapter, we'll open the line for your questions, both live and the questions that our audience has been sending us. So sit back. Let's join Heidi and RJon in the studio as they cover some of the boring systems and processes that will make you rich. RJon and Heidi, back to you.
Thank you, Carly. And I have to say, this is the first time in all the years I've been doing this that I hear something, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that song. And I put the My Dingling link to YouTube, the YouTube link to it to you, Carly, in case we need something to play when we're getting the light set up, because I know that song. It took me back to my childhood of hearing, the My Dingling song. So,
Alex, that could be your theme song.
He's muted.
Okay, so RJon, I have let's dive into the questions. Does
let's
that
get right
sound
to it.
good?
Yeah, let's get to it.
Okay, so we're gonna start on systems and like how important they are. So you've mentioned one time to me that you stopped networking because you were so busy with work and you didn't have a backup system set or a back end system set up to support
Yeah.
it. I like on a related note, I've had another author talk to me about a pitfall that business owners often face, that they cut marketing during lean years, which is also like obviously problematic. So kind of what I want to dive into is I have a couple questions about this, but like making sure people actually implement what we're instructing, because it seems to me from all my conversations with you and working with other folks that it seems like the systems that law firm owners put in place are either going to make or break their success. Like, to what extent do you agree with that? Am I right on that, or am I wrong? Or is it in between?
You said a lot of different things, and I want to unpack it a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
All right. One, when you think of a law firm, people say the firm,
Hmm.
right? I mean, people say the firm this, the firm that, right? You know the story about the ship of Theseus?
I don't think I do.
All right. So we did a whole live quarterly meeting on this, the ship of Theseus. Carly, maybe get the intro to that and put it in the show notes, share with Heidi as a reference, okay? Maybe not the whole live quarterly meeting, but just the intro that explains this whole idea. But
You
here's
got
the short version of it, Heidi. It's sort of a thought experiment.
Hmm.
There is a ancient Roman or Greek ship. I researched it. I presented it a while back at a live quarterly meeting, and back then I knew all the details, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. But you'll get the gist, right? There was an ancient Greek ship that did this big heroic voyage, yeah,
Hmm.
and every year for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, this ship kept, as a tradition, they would sail, they would retrace the historic voyage. Yeah.
Okay.
Ship of Theseus. And one day someone said, wait a second, this ship is like 1,000 years old. There's not one single molecule that was here 1,000 years ago on this ship. Right? Not one splinter that's on the ship today was on the ship 1,000 years ago, because 1,000 years ago they replaced a sail. It was still the ship of Theseus, right?
Hmm.
It doesn't stop being the ship of Theseus because you put a different sail on it. And then they had to replace a board on the deck, and it doesn't stop being the ship of Theseus because you had to replace a board on the deck. And then they had to replace, something else, and then they had to replace something else, right? Just because you replace the tire on your car, it doesn't make it not your car anymore.
Hmm.
Yeah. Just because you replace the window in your house doesn't make it not your house anymore. At what point does it stop being the ship of Theseus? At what point have you changed so many things that is no longer the same ship? At what point have you changed so many things about your house that is no longer the same house? At one point have you changed so many parts of your car that's no longer the same car? You get what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
And so the whole premise was people keep rebuilding the same problems because they keep putting things back the same way they were before. You get that idea?
Hmm.
All right, take that idea, just put it over there in the corner.
Okay.
Now, you talk about the firm, right? There are law firms that have been around for more than 100 years, right?
Hmm.
Not one single person who founded that law firm is still alive today.
Yep.
Not one single person who worked for any of the founders is still alive today. Probably there's not one single person who worked for anyone who worked for any of the founders who still works at the firm today. And yet it's still called the firm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Why is it still the firm? Now, the lawyers are going to listen, well, corporate entity, artificial entity, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about conceptually, right? Why is it still the firm? And really, what makes a firm hang together, what makes a firm stay a firm, yeah, is a set of core values, a brand promise, and systems. That's it.
Mhm.
The people come and go. But as long as the people adhere to the core values, keep delivering on the brand promise, and maintain or upgrade and update the systems, the point is, it's the systems that really keep the firm hanging together. So when you talk about the firm, what you're really talking about is a set of core values, a brand promise, and systems. That's all there is to a firm.
Yeah.
Okay. You can change locations, it's still the firm. You could change cities, it's still the firm. You can change technologies, it's still the firm. You can go from paper to digital, it's still the firm. You can change from one practice area to another practice area, it's still the firm. As long as it keeps the core values, the brand promise, and there's some overlap of systems and procedures. So truly, the systems and the procedures are the firm. Okay, you got that part.
Yep.
Now, there's a third thing you said, but
Mhm.
you packed it all together. So I'm unpacking this.
Okay.
Third thing you said is that you've spoken with other business owners who, when in lean times, they turned down or turned off the marketing,
Mhm.
right? Which of course is self-defeating and short-sighted and very, very entrepreneurially immature, right? Immature entrepreneurs turn down the marketing or turn off the marketing in lean times. Never, ever turn down the marketing. Never, ever turn off the marketing. Don't do it. Immature entrepreneurs who own law firms, in other words, law firm owners who are entrepreneurially immature. And I realize there's a lot of people in this audience who, by the way, are not law firm owners. They are lawyers who work for law firms, but still pay attention, right? Entrepreneurially immature law firm owners also turn down or turn off the marketing in boom times. Things are too busy. We've got too much business coming in. We got too much work to do. And so instead of responding to it in a entrepreneurially mature way that leads to good times for the future, they take the short-sighted wrong approach and they turn down the marketing. Yeah. And then the fourth thing you said, and you kind of connected what I said, and it sounded like you were connecting those two concepts together, but they're not. They're two different concepts.
Okay.
Which is the reason that I stopped doing the networking, yeah, is because I didn't have good systems. I didn't turn off my marketing. I just turned off the networking.
Okay.
Because the networking stopped working. And the reason that the networking stopped working is because the networking wasn't installed as part of a bigger referral machine. It's like having the engine revving and revving and revving and revving, but there's no transmission or there's no tires on the wheels, right? I just wasn't getting anywhere with the networking because I didn't have it installed as part of a referral machine, which is why I keep making this distinction between just networking as the valuable, important, legitimate, terrific, wonderful, beautiful engine and the actual bigger referral machine, which harnesses all the power of networking to produce predictable, sustainable, reliable business for your law firm. I didn't have the machine, so I just stopped revving the engine.
Okay.
But I didn't turn off my marketing. I was doing other kinds of marketing.
You were doing other types of marketing as well.
Yeah.
Then.
Last
Okay.
thing on, listen, if I ever go out of business, the last dollar that will be spent on marketing
Okay.
or sales.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So systems are
I just want to say
important.
one thing about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that someone will listen to this and they will take that as license to be an idiot. Right? When I say my last dollar, if I ever go out of business, that the last dollar will be spent on marketing and or sales, acquisitions, right? That's not license to just throw stupid money at stupid marketing and crooked marketing vendors who will take your money and do stupid things with it. I just want to say that.
Okay.
My last dollar will not be spent in a stupid Hail Mary pass hoping to score a touchdown. I will use my brain and be strategic.
Okay. Thank you. No, I think that's a good distinction because yeah. Okay. So actually implementing systems, a lot of people, I think we know what we're supposed to do, or we learn it, it makes sense. But then like, I'm curious to hear from you, what are some of the like first concrete steps, like tangible things that someone needs to do to implement systems? Like literally like blocking a week to do it. Do you chip away at it? Do you assign this out? Do you delegate this? Because I can see where it could feel overwhelming. I'm guessing every single person reading the book, listening right now would consider themselves busy. So what is step one?
The dongle has arrived.
The dongle's arrived. Okay.
Never going to hear that word the same way again. Pardon me. Heidi, can I ask you a question about your process while RJon is out and about?
Yeah.
Because you've obviously worked with a lot of different best-selling authors. How do I want to phrase this?
The dongle's
Phrase
back.
dongle. There's no way to say dongle that doesn't make people giggle. All right. Let me get this thing figured out.
I always thought it was called an adapter. So this is like a new word for me.
Oh, I think I've heard both, but I have heard dongle most frequently.
Really?
In the Mac world, it's dongle, and in the PC world, it's typically adapter. It's pretty much the same thing.
Really? And I use Macs.
In my experience. Alex, you want to chime in on this?
Oh, he's on mute.
You talk about your dongle.
You what, RJon?
About your dongle guy, Alex.
He can't hear us. I think he's moderating PPM. Oh. Heidi, how do you make sure that a book becomes a best-selling book? I know it's somewhat off the beaten path, but I just always have wondered with you.
Oh, that is a big question. It makes me think of something Ivan said not too long ago. He said, writing a bestseller is easy. Growing a 400,000 person audience is hard. So I think it's to keep it kind of high level, it is you need to have your audience. You need to have an audience. I don't know if you've heard of or read Dory Clark. She did a series of books. It kind of, sometimes I put things together as like my own little trilogy, and she had 3 come out, and I forget which one it was. I think like Entrepreneurial You. It might have been that one. And she talked about, and I think that was her second or third one, but her first book, it's this amazing book. It has this amazing content. But she says in hindsight, she didn't have the audience she needed to have. in order to get the visibility of it, because publishing has changed a lot over the years. It's really a disrupted industry right now because there's so much with self-publishing, and traditional publishers don't do as much promoting as they used to. So a lot of it is having a core audience. And then, I mean, obviously a strong marketing plan and all those things, but needing to have your audience, and word RJon uses a lot, like installed before the book comes out.
I would say that writing a best-selling book is relatively simple. Selling a best-selling book is where things get complicated. I've got this light. Does it make a difference?
Can you turn it up?
I don't know how to make the remote work, so I only can do it manually. So yeah.
Yeah, it needs to be brighter.
And I'll just add
Yeah,
this
please.
piece of it, input. There's different views on this, but some people will say, like, if you're thinking to write a book, you want to have an audience of at least 10,000. So, and that can be across different platforms. Not everybody does that, but kind of to be able to actually, market, get sales, get it up on those lists of, bestsellers. That's a guideline that some people suggest.
Make a difference?
It doesn't make a difference at all.
Is it up as high as it goes?
What about now?
Keep going.
Off.
Hang on one sec.
It's on.
It's a little better. I can tell that you have some good color on you now, at least.
All right, well, we'll get a little better every day.
Absolutely.
That's a cheerful thought of the day. Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
Heidi.
but you
We
do have some nice
interrupted.
color.
Keep going with the flow.
All right.
That's
what was the
okay.
question?
Yeah. Well, and there's a thing about 1% better every day, right? Like that's a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
The question.
Did you pin Heidi, not me? Like unpin me?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So the question was about like concrete actual steps. Like, okay, I know I want to have such and such system. How do we get started with actually doing it?
Right. So first off, Carly, do me a favor and just do a quick search online and with the definition of the word system. Most people
set of things.
Most people misunderstand what a system is. They think systems are technology. So we're clear. Systems existed for thousands of years. The pyramids were built because of systems, roads, bridges, railroads, everything that's ever been built or created that we think about in terms of modern infrastructure, systems. Long before technology, systems. Technology just makes it more efficient to automate the system. Technology is not a substitute for the system. And more to the point, using technology is not a substitute for thinking through what the system is. So the definition of a system is, Carly?
It is. So there's two of them. A set of things working together as parts of a mechanism, or an interconnecting network. And two, a set of principles or procedures according to which something is done, an organized framework or method.
That's what a system is, right? We can use technology to leverage ourselves. We can automate, but technology is not a system. People think, well, I have no technology, right? So let's talk about a networking, or a referral machine, a system. That's what you're asking me about?
Yes. Yeah. And thank you for that clarification, because I was not thinking about like software systems at all. I was thinking of like the Rolodex that I literally bought and have on my desk now, because you talked about that as being a system. So, or as part of a system. So
Right.
yes.
So Carly, remind us again what the system is, the definition of a system. Let's slow it, go slow. Let's take it piece by piece.
Okay. A set of principles or procedures.
Stop. A set of principles, right? And the definition of a principle is?
One moment, let me get the official one. If I can spell today, a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system or belief or behavior, or for a chain of
So a
reasoning.
principle is a belief that serves a foundation for behavior,
Mhm.
right? The behavior is that we're going to behave in a certain way consistently, predictably, over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, so that we can produce an outcome. And the outcome that we're trying to produce is reliable, consistent, predictable, profitable, dependable referrals incoming to our law firm. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
That's the principle, right? We're going to behave this way. Now go back to system. A
So
system
a
is
set of principles or procedures.
a set of principles, right? Or procedures. Procedures are the step by step by step by step by step things we're going to do in honor of the principle, which
Principles or procedures according to which something is done.
something is done. So we put all this stuff together and we build a referral machine. It's a series of principles, a series of procedures, a series of checklists, a series of tools. It's not complicated. This is low tech, no tech, low cost, no cost kind of stuff that if you've already got $1 million law firm, holy crap, you can build a referral machine that will take it to $2 million or $5 million, right? Or $10 million or more. If you're just getting started, you can use a referral machine. You can build a referral machine to get your firm up to $1 million. And then if you're smart, you keep that referral machine going so that it goes to 5 million, 10 million, $20 million. How to Manage a Small Law Firm last year grossed over $30 million. And we have a referral machine. We built a referral machine and it's been working and working and working and working and working. And I make millions of dollars a year because of this referral machine. Now, it's not the only marketing channel that we have, but it's really profitable and really predictable and really reliable. And every time Google or SEO or the internet does something wonky, my referral machine just keeps chugging along and chugging along and chugging along and chugging along, very predictably and reliably working for me. I feel like I went a little sideways on your question. Bring me back on track,
Well,
please.
yeah, no, that was really good. But I'm thinking like the actual tactics of like, what is step one? Is it, do you block your calendar and say, I'm going to create my step-by-step procedures for this? Am I going to prioritize? Like, here are all these systems that we're putting in this book. Do I prioritize which ones? Like,
Yeah. So the license plate on one of my cars is decide, DCIDE. Step one is decide that this is going to be something you're going to make a priority.
okay.
Decide that this is going to be a priority for you. Or decide that you want to wake up in 2 years and be grateful and thankful and appreciative that the person you are today gave you this gift, right? This is like the gift you give to your future self, right? It's not like calling your local PPC person and saying, please burn a bunch of my money today as quick as you can to get me some business today because I'm desperate today, right? And build no real equity value from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's step one is changing the way you're thinking. This goes back to the whole idea of entrepreneurial maturity, right? So think about one of the things that we as adults use to determine whether a person is mature or not mature, right? One of the things that we tend to think of is, Are they making short-term expedient decisions out of convenience and instinct and just feelings?
Mhm.
Or are they making more mature, disciplined, long-term, better decisions? Right?
Yeah.
Well, entrepreneurial maturity is the same thing. An immature entrepreneur, a person with a low degree of entrepreneurial maturity, falls for and gets distracted by and prioritizes short-term quick fixes. A person with more entrepreneurial maturity thinks and invests in longer-term, more valuable solutions that will keep serving them and serving them and serving them. And so one of the ways to do this is to think about having a conversation with your future self, right? Is your future self going to thank you for putting them on a hamster wheel of SEO and PPC and latest fad marketing that just burns cash and burns cash and burns cash and burns cash and only works as long as you keep throwing cash at it? Or is your future self going to say, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for having the discipline and the maturity and the foresight and the care and the concern and the respect for who I'm going to be 2 years from now to begin building me a referral machine that now takes great care of me and our family. That's really step one of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Once you make that decision, really the rest of this book is details and steps and instructions and tools and shortcuts and things that can help you get it done easier.
Yeah.
But without that decision, the rest of this book does you no good.
So that's like would you say that that's then the top thing about all of this is actually just deciding you're going to do it, right? The actual intentional decision. Yes, I will do this.
That's why I invested so much time with you in the beginning when we did the first rounds of interviews for the book,
Yeah.
talking about creating a vision for what life could be like for the owner
Yeah.
of a law firm, what life could be like for a lawyer. Doesn't even have to be the owner of a law firm. What life could be like for a lawyer who has built and now enjoys the benefits of having their own referral machine, their
Mhm.
automatic referral machine. Life is good for the lawyer who owns their own automatic referral machine. Life is great. As compared to the lawyer who is just on the hamster wheel and on the hamster wheel, on the hamster wheel, life can get pretty tedious and exhausting. I think that's the most important part, is to get the vision for it and then make the decision. That's the life for me.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about do this and then do that and then do the other. And, for one person, the right answer is going to be, go away for a month and lock yourself away for a month and just work on it and work on it and work on it and work on it and work on it. For another person, the answer is, dedicate 1 day a week for the next 12 weeks. And for the next person, the right answer is, a few hours a day. It all depends on the person's unique personality, preferences, schedule, budget. Me personally, I'm the go away for a month type of person.
Yeah.
But that's just me. That's not the right answer for everyone. But the right answer for everyone does mean put time, our actions express our priorities. Gandhi said that. Gandhi, who, by the way, was a struggling solo lawyer before he became Gandhi. A lot of people don't know that. Our actions express our priorities. So, and our actions, our priorities, they show up in our calendar. You show me what your calendar has planned out. You show me your calendar for the next 12 months, I'll tell you what your priorities really are. You tell me your kids are a priority, show me where that shows up on your calendar for the next 12 months. You show me your health you tell me you want to tell me your priority is your health. Show me where health is given respect on your calendar for the next 12 months. You tell me that growing your business and improving your family's financial position in life is a priority for you. Show me where there's things that are reasonably, rationally, logically, intelligently calculated to cause that to happen on your calendar every week, every month, every quarter for the next 12 months, the next 18 months, the next 24 months, and then I'll believe that that's really your priority. If it doesn't show up on your calendar for the next 12 to 18 to 24 months, it's not your priority. Don't kid yourself. This, by the way, pisses people off to no end. But it is my priority. No, it's not.
Yeah.
But I love them so much. I don't doubt you love them so much, but it's not a priority for you, because if it was a priority for you, it would be on your calendar. You would be protecting the time for that activity.
Yeah. The people who want to get fit, but don't go to the gym or do other like regular exercise. It's like, well, it doesn't happen in your sleep.
Which, unless you're, and then you get people, and this goes back to the entrepreneurial maturity conversation, right? Well, why does it have to be on my calendar? If it's enough of a priority for me, I'll just do it. I mean, in fantasy land, it works that way.
Yeah.
But here in the real world, where we've got children and employees and pets and life, if it doesn't go on the calendar, it ain't getting done. Let's face it. And it won't get done half the time, even if it is on the calendar. I mean, if it's on the calendar, there's only a 50% chance it's going to get done anyway. If it's not on the calendar, there's like a 0% chance it's going to get done.
Talk about a truthful statement there, right? Like, because sometimes, even if it's on the calendar, it's not, things happen. But okay. Should we switch gears to a different question?
So were you looking for like more like, put it on your calendar and then do this and then do that and then do the other? There's other sections of the book where we get into that. You want to get into that now?
No, I think for now, well, let me think about that.
Look, the pieces of the machine, right?
Yeah.
The pieces of the machine. You need to have a way to interface with potential referral sources. Yeah. You can't have an automatic $1 million referral machine. You can't have a $1 million referral machine without referral sources feeding you $1 million of referrals. That's obvious. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Correct.
So now you think strategically. Do you think you're going to have one referral source who sends you $1 million of business? In some cases, the answer is yes, right? We have one client, one member of How to Manage a Small Law Firm, who gets about $1 million of business from one single referral source. This one single referral source is something to do with hospitals. And they're just in a position to refer a lot of business from several different hospitals to this one law firm, right? Now, there's pros and cons of having $1 million of business coming from one referral source, right? That one referral source can get hit by the proverbial bus and then it's over, right?
Yeah.
But while it lasts, it's great. So strategically, do you think, so to have the $1 million referral machine, you need a source of referrals. You need a source that's going to give you $1 million of referrals to have a $1 million referral machine. That's very, very obvious. I know it's overly obvious, very broad, but let's get into it. So strategically, am I going to seek to cultivate $1 million referral source, 2 $500,000 referral sources, 4 $250,000 referral sources, 10 $100,000 referral sources, 100 $1,000, 100 $10,000 referral source. I mean, what's the plan here? Right? Well, I can't tell exactly. I didn't say you can tell exactly, but what's the plan? Let's at least have a plan going into this, right? Now, as a practical matter, it's really hard to maintain relationships with 100 referral sources.
Yeah.
It is, right? So a more practical, manageable strategy, particularly if it's just you getting started and you don't have a lot of people helping you manage this machine. Let's say we want to target like 10 really good referral sources who are each in a position to refer you about $100,000 a year worth of business per year. That means
Mhm.
each of them is in a position to refer you about $8,000 of business per month. All right, let's pick 10. We're going to find 10 really good referral sources who are in a position to refer you about $8,000 of business per month, which, depending on your practice area, depending on your average case or matter value, let's say your average case or matter value is $4,000. You want each of these referral sources to be in a position to refer you about 2 new cases or matters per month. Right? This is just math here, right?
Yeah.
There's lots of different kinds of people who have a need to refer out a few cases or matters per month for their own reasons. They need a place to send these clients. Yeah? We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
All right. So now you've got a strategy, right? You think of all the different ways to do this. You think you would most prefer to have about 10 really solid referral sources who you can invest a lot of time and effort and energy and care and concern to cultivate and maintain your relationships with these 10 people, right? Not 100 people, not just
Mhm.
one person. Let's just say you go with 10. All right. Well, now you got to have a way to find them. You have to prospect to find your potential referral sources. All right. So where are you going to find these people? Well, trade associations, people you refer business to, people who, because of the nature of their work or the nature of their position in society, they're often find themselves in an uncomfortable position, which can be made less uncomfortable by having a solution to send people to. You get that part?
Yeah. Can you give me an example?
The accountant
Mm-hmm.
who often has clients come to them and say, hey, you're my accountant. I need a lawyer to help me draft a contract for a deal that I want to do.
Mm.
And the accountant is now in an uncomfortable position because the accountant either has to say, I'm not resourceful, I'm not well connected, I'm not well respected, I don't really know a lot of people, I'm just an accountant sitting here in a corner doing accounting, which is not the answer they want to give.
Yeah.
Or the accountant has to say, here's the names of 5 different people, or here's the names of 3 different people. Go figure it out for yourself, which is not a very good look for the accountant to have either. The accountant would probably, if they stop to think about it for 5 minutes, prefer to be able to say to their accounting clients, yes, I know just the person. This is a person who I know and I like and I trust, and I've referred a bunch of my other clients to their law firm, and they've always done a great job. And the client then says to the accountant, thank you. You've now added value to our relationship. You're now more important to me than you were before. And I'll keep calling you whenever I've got any kind of a problem because you are a valuable resource for me. That's the position the accountant wants to be in. But in
Mhm.
order to be in that position, the accountant has to have a solution. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, there's things that we talk about elsewhere in the book about how you can make yourself the preferred solution for the accountant. But right now, we're just talking about the pieces of the machine. Yeah?
Yes.
So you have to have, we said we're going to pick, let's say, 10 referral sources.
Hmm.
We have to find a way to, we have to identify who the candidates will be and think of them as candidates. You're interviewing them to be on your team. You're going to be on their team. They're going to be on your team, but you're interviewing them to be on your team. Are you going to be one of these 10? Right? Are you going to be on my team? Are you going to be one of these 10 people on my team? Where do you go find them?
Hmm.
You'll find them because they're already referring business to you. And with some care and some attention and some focus and doing the things we talk about elsewhere in the book, instead of referring one new case or matter to you per quarter, they can refer one or two to you once a month because they're in a position to do so. You just haven't shown them how to do it.
Yeah.
You haven't made it easy for them. You haven't shown them why and how they will look like a hero for doing so. All right. So one is you got to find them. You interview them. You'll find them because they're already referring business to you. You'll find them because you're already referring business to them. You'll find them because you go out and you search for them, and you'll find them in trade associations or other places like that. And four, you'll ask your clients,
Hmm.
right? Because your clients all have accountants. Your clients all have roofers. Your clients all have gardeners. Your clients all have, maybe they don't all have family therapists, but your clients have, they're already doing business with these people. So you ask your clients for introductions. And your clients will very often be very glad to accommodate because your clients feel good about this. Make your clients feel good to make a good introduction. You ask for it the right way.
Yeah.
Then you need, or go to networking events. This is the whole point. Go to networking events. Find the referral sources at networking events. They're there trying to be invited onto someone's team, and they're there looking to build their own team. That's why they're going to networking events.
Yeah.
All right. So that after you meet the person, whether you meet them by tapping into your existing network, asking your clients for referrals, or going to networking events, however you meet them, you now need to have the next piece of the machine, which is a way to install them in your machine, right? Like you
Mhm.
got to have your dongle that connects them to your machine, right? For those people who are just joining us, they're not understanding why we're all giggling. You know. It's an inside joke. All right, here we go. The point of making is you got to have a way to install them into your machine. Right? You got to have a way to connect them and install them. And that is having a conversation with them outside of the environment where you met them. Don't try to do this at the networking event, right? So you have to have a system that follows up with them. We met at the networking event, and I have a system in place that does step one of the follow-up, step two of the follow-up, step three of the follow-up. That causes me to wind up with a face-to-face meeting where I really get to know who you are, what your business is all about, who your ideal client is, what you're looking for in a referral relationship, and where we can start to agree on how we're going to exchange referrals in a way that will make you feel more comfortable giving me a try. And then we have to have the piece of the machine, the piece of the system where we give them the mechanism for making the referral,
Mhm.
right? So in How to Manage a Small Law Firm, our members have a special email and a special link that they can give to their referrals. So their referrals get treated extra special because they came from one of our members, right? When you get referred to How to Manage a Small Law Firm through one of our members, you get the VIP treatment. you don't get the regular good treatment. You get the extra good treatment because you came through one of our members. And our members know that this is going to happen, which makes them more comfortable making referrals to us. Right? They know that the referral will be taken good care of because we have a system that we follow. Making sense?
Yes.
And part of that system is how the person will be greeted, how the person will be spoken to, how the person will be followed up with, how much, or more specifically, how little pressure will be put on them to make a buying decision today. Is this making sense?
Yes. Yep.
All of this is part of the system that, when put together, gives you the machine. Part of the machine also includes, part of the system also includes all of the things you do to maintain those relationships with those referral sources, right? So one of the things that you have to do if you want to maintain, it's like having a car, right? You have to change the oil, you have to change the tires, you have to change the fan belt, you have to do regular scheduled maintenance if you want this thing to keep giving you many, many, many years of great service. Right? If you want your referral machine to keep working for you for years and 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 years, and eventually be something that you can sell to someone, it needs to be maintained. Right? So, what is your regular systematic plan for maintaining those relationships with those 10 people who are in your referral team, right? Are you regularly going out of your way to make a referral to them? Are you regularly going out of your way to demonstrate to them that you tried to make a referral to them? Are you regularly keeping them apprised about the status of the referrals they make to you? Right? Now, obviously, there's attorney-client privilege. I'm not saying you got to like open up the case and say, here's the inners of the case, but like, hey, want to let you know that I'm still working with John Doe, who you referred to me a year ago. And I hope you're hearing good things because we're doing, I think, a great job for him. And I want to let you know that every time I talk to him, I try to go out of my way to say good things about you too, to build up your reputation with John Doe, who you referred to me. Right? Hey, I want to let you know that we resolved the case with John Doe, and I think he's pretty happy with the results we got, or he's unhappy with the results we got, but I want to let you know they were the very best results that we thought we could get under the circumstances. And I thought, out of courtesy, since you referred him to me, you should know the case is now resolved. The accountant, the family therapists, the roofer, the teacher, the neighbor, the candlestick maker, whoever it is, who won't appreciate knowing that the case that they referred to you has now been resolved, right?
Yeah.
It's not attorney-client privilege to know the case has been resolved. The case has been resolved. And if you have any doubts, you can ask the client, hey, would you object to me letting John Doe know, or letting the person who referred you to me, would you have any objection to me letting them know when the case is resolved? Client's gonna be like, I don't care. And if the client cares, you don't let them know, right?
Yeah.
Build the system to work and then manage the exceptions if they occur, which they usually don't, right? And then you use your rainmaking Rolodex as a piece of the machine. So now there's all these different pieces of the machine that you got going, right? You know, how often are you going out of your way to introduce different people on your team to each other and link them together? You know, are you doing that randomly? A year, organize lunches with each of them to try to put them all together so that they value you even more.
Yeah.
These are all pieces of the machine that I'm talking about, which is why this isn't just about networking. Networking is how you meet these people. Networking is how you open up the relationship. Then you install it into the machine, and the machine cultivates and cultivates and cultivates and cultivates and instigates and instigates and instigates and instigates referrals and maintains top of mind awareness, on and on and on and on and on. That's why I'm making such a big thing all the time about the referral machine, not just networking.
Yeah. Thank you. So I, of course, have more questions, but I feel like we should probably see if Carly has any questions from people listening in. And if not, I can ask another question or so. But Carly?
We've got some questions, but I'd say, Heidi, because we did some of them in the beginning, go ahead and ask another one. And if we have time at the end, I'll give RJon a couple. And if we don't, then we'll put it on to tomorrow.
Okay. So I want to switch gears a little bit about the difference. So I want to have you explain why generating business for a small law firm is different than for a large firm. And I'll put context around this.
Yeah.
In the 10 rain making mistakes white paper that your team sent me, that was mentioned. And I'd just like to learn more, because in that it said traditional advertising, like radio show, event sponsorships, hosting receptions, those are often intentionally used by big multi-state firms to address important problems that solos don't have.
Right.
So I guess, so can you tell me a little bit like more about that?
Yeah, I will. I don't know if that necessarily, I don't know how relevant that's going to be
Yeah.
for this book. I'll describe it. I'll explain it to you and you can decide.
Well, and I'll share with you the follow-up in case this helps you. So my follow-up question of kind of like why I'm asking is, as a law firm grows from using the automatic referral machine, does their approach to referral marketing and other types of marketing have to change and adapt to a larger style? So that's kind of like the why, how that's connecting in my brain.
This is something that I was talking about earlier. We have our business did over $30 million last year. How to Manage a Small Law Firm grossed over $30 million last year and is on track to do more and more and more this year, the year after. We're on a continue on our growth trajectory. I have no intention whatsoever of stopping my beautiful referral machine.
Yeah.
My referral machine makes me probably a couple $1 million a year. Right? Now, is it the only way that we get business? No, it's not the only way we get business. Right? Now we're zooming out to having a conversation about a marketing machine, not just a referral machine. The referral machine is one of the machines that makes up the collection, which is a full marketing machine. You know, PPC, which I often deride and criticize, is a piece of a comprehensive marketing machine. Sure, why not? If I can get an ROI, if I can get a positive ROI on PPC, why wouldn't I do PPC? SEO, which I often criticize and talk about how many scam artists and hucksters there are out there ripping off unwary law firm owners with BS SEO garbage. But if I can get a positive ROI from SEO, why not? Why wouldn't I do advertising on the radio? Why wouldn't I do bus bench ads? Why wouldn't I do direct mail? Why wouldn't I do everything if everything is giving me a positive return on my investment? Well, there's a reason why, because it's not just a financial return on investment. There's also a time and energy return on investment, right? And so, you know, if PPC gives me a 5x ROI for every dollar I spend on PPC, it brings me $5 of new business, and networking gives me a 5x ROI. Well, PPC takes just a minute to write the check or to click the button to the PPC vendor, whereas networking and building this referral machine takes an investment of time and energy, right? So, you know, in the beginning, when the car is parked in the garage, fifth gear is probably not the appropriate gear to be in. You probably need reverse to back out,
Yeah.
right? So maybe you need to do some short-term, super expedient, jump-started marketing to just get some business coming in, right? The point is not that you shouldn't do any of these other things. The point is that while you're thinking about and doing all these other things, don't forget to build your long-term, sustainable, predictable, equity building, equity creating, beautiful referral machine that will keep taking care of you for years and years and years and years and years to come. Because if you just survive on all these short-term expedient things, you're going to wake up 5 years from now and you're still going to be trying to survive on these short-term expedient things, and you're never going to break free of that stuff into real sustainable marketing.
Okay.
So RJon, can I ask, does that mean that you do not need to adapt your referral machine as your law firm gets bigger and bigger?
Oh, right. Okay. So the way that your referral machine will work in the beginning, when it's just you by your lonesome, yeah, will be obviously you will go out to the networking events. You will be, holding the pen that writes the thank you notes. You will be making the referrals from your referral Rolodex, from your rainmaking Rolodex. You will be picking up the phone to call the person to say thank you. You will be showing up to the follow-up meetings with your potential referral sources. You'll be the one consuming food and digesting the food at the lunches when you put these people together from your team, right? Eventually, you will be able to afford to hire people to do some of these things for you, right? And then it will be someone other than you going to the networking events. And it will be someone other than you holding the pen when they write the thank you note to the person they met at the networking event. And it will be someone other than you who will be going to the lunches and things like that. Are you tracking what I'm saying?
Yeah. Is this kind of like the ship of Theseus?
And there's gradients of this, right? It's not all or nothing, black or white, right? So in the beginning, it's all you by your lonesome doing everything, including calling the person and calling the person's assistant to say, can we please schedule the follow-up appointment? Next, it's your assistant scheduling you to go and do the follow-up appointment yourself. Then it's the person who is managing your referral machine who's calling to schedule the appointments for them to go to the follow-up appointments on behalf of the firm. So it's getting bigger and more independent of you.
Yeah, it's the same ship. You're just replacing parts of the boards, and you're upgrading the GPS and that kind of stuff.
You're replacing yourself in different parts of doing it. In the beginning, you have no money, you have no staff, you have no clients, you got nothing. You're all by yourself, working from your home with a laptop and a phone and a website you put up, on GoDaddy in 5 minutes. Yeah, you'll do everything yourself. It's good you did everything yourself, because then you know how to do everything yourself. But you've got a vision for what you're building, and part of the vision for what you're building is someone else doing all these things. So the machine works automatically without you having to be there every day, every week, every month, and you could just check in on it once a quarter. I only have to check in on my referral machine once a quarter to make sure that it's working. I have a dashboard that I can see anytime I want to look at it. I can see all the pieces are working the way they're supposed to be working. And once a quarter, I sit down to review the P&L, the profit and loss, on that referral machine to make sure the referral machine is hitting the metrics and giving me a positive ROI. And other than that, I have nothing to do with it, which is beautiful. The RJon from 10 years ago gave me today this beautiful gift that gives me freedom. It gives me this amazing life that I get to enjoy today. He gave me this gift. He had the entrepreneurial maturity and the love and the care and the foresight and the concern and he was able to have enough of a vision for what was possible that he made the choices back then that gave me this beautiful gift, this beautiful machine that I get to enjoy today. That's why all of you are here. That's why I can afford to be doing this. This is why I've got dongles being delivered to me, and I've got boat captains waiting for me to go out fishing, and because of what he did for me 10 years ago.
That's such a beautiful
That's
thought.
great. Yeah, that's a thank you.
Okay, Heidi, do you have,
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you have more questions that are pressing today, or should I move to a couple from the audience?
I think move to a couple from the audience, and then we can restart tomorrow with some of the other ones, because they'll be changing directions a bit.
Okay, and can we just hang out for a minute to talk about a couple of calendaring things after this thing officially ends? Let's kick everyone off of this group and just stay here, all of us, and just talk about some calendaring things.
Yeah, should we jump on your Zoom, RJon, for that?
I don't know how.
That's fair.
Let's answer the
We'll stay here.
questions. I'm just saying,
Okay.
when we're done here, kick everyone else out and let's just talk. I just got to talk about some calendaring things because I changed my calendar around because I was just.
Yes. Yep, let's do
I'll
it.
show you-
Okay.
I will show you a picture of why I am rescheduling a few things.
Okay. Awesome. One of the
If you like
questions.
fishing, you'll like this picture.
I don't like fishing, but I do like watching other people fish. I suppose that's fair. Not fair. I haven't fished in a long time. Let me ask you these questions. Okay, RJon, I've tried building a system before, but I can't get my team to actually follow it. Like, what do you do when you know what needs to happen, but no one else seems to care as much?
Right. So I'm going to use a fishing analogy because I'm trying to find some way to work in a humble brag about my son's fishing prowess. Did he catch a 30-inch anyway? It's
Did your son catch, like, I'm gonna ask the question, did your son catch like a 30-pound mahi-mahi or something?
There's a fish. It's a mutton snapper.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not an avid fisher person. But in South Florida, mutton snapper are like the thing. It's
Okay.
like, what's like the trendiest thing there is in fashion today or something else?
The Stanley Cup among teens and women.
Is it?
At least where I'm from, yeah.
What are you
I mean,
talking
I don't know
The
about
Stanley
fashion,
Cup as
but
like
it is
hockey?
everywhere.
It's like, yeah, like the Stanley Cups. There's all these
Oh,
drops
you mean
of
like
new.
like this, like the Stanley version of this.
Yes, because Yeti
Okay.
is so, and I have a Yeti too, but it's
Oh,
so
so-
a few years ago,
Oh,
apparently.
so I'm uncool because I have a Yeti and I don't have a Stanley.
Yeah. Or like 17 colors of Stanleys.
Anyway, so the big thing today is the mutton snapper. And all that anyone wants to talk about, fishing people, is mutton snapper, mutton snapper, mutton snapper, mutton snapper. And my 9-year-old son caught not one, but two massive mutton snapper last night. One was 28 inches, one was 30 inches, which if there's any mutton snapper fans, they are extremely impressed right now. They probably think I'm lying, but I've got proof. No, it's like, it's so unlikely to catch two mutton snapper that big on one trip. Most people won't think I'm telling the truth. It's that rare.
I had to look it up because I couldn't visualize. That is a huge
It's
fish.
a big deal. It's
That's
like
a
almost as
huge
big as him.
fish.
Wow.
So how does that tie in, RJon, to building systems, but your team won't follow them?
Right. So as soon as the rod starts to bend, an inexperienced mutton snapper fishing person will immediately grab the rod and try to reel it in.
Mhm.
But when you have an experienced fishing guide, as we did, the experienced fishing guide says, no, it needs to eat the bait more. You need to give it time to eat the bait before you hook it. It's not hooked enough. You got to get a good eating of the bait before you hook it, and then you can reel it in. So if you'd repeat the question, I'll make the connection without the background.
Yeah. So the question is, what do you do when you know what needs to happen, but the team isn't convicted of it? So you know what needs to happen, but no one
Just
else
read
seems
the
to care as
exact-
much.
I'm not asking you to describe the question.
Right. Sorry. Okay. I've
Literally
tried
read the
building
question again.
systems. I've
Start
tried
again.
building systems before, but I can't get my team to actually follow them. What do you do when you know what needs to happen, but no one else seems to care?
You don't ask them to get involved until after you have the machine working. Build it yourself, run it yourself, make it work yourself. And then after it's working, then you can say to them, you see, we don't need to debate whether this is going to work. We don't need to discuss whether it's going to work. You don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to work. It's already working. Now I need you to come in and just do this one part of it. Just do this one part of it. Do this other part of it. The problem that I find, and I've made this mistake more times than I can count, is look, one of the things that makes entrepreneurs is that we are willing to take chances that other people aren't willing to take. We're willing to have a vision of something that doesn't exist and say, I'm going to take a chance on making it work. And if it works, I'm going to reap the rewards and enjoy the benefits without apology, without remorse, without regret, without feeling like I got to explain it to everyone. I'm just going to enjoy the benefits because I built it. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to take responsibility for the time, the effort, the energy that I invested to try to make it work. Yeah. Asking your staff to jump on board with something that only exists in your mind, it's challenging. Give me a second. I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Turned out to not sneeze, but almost sneezed. Anyway, it's challenging, right? And depending on your level of entrepreneurial maturity, and just generally speaking, your level of maturity as a human being, it might also be unfair, right? If your staff has had the experience of you blaming them.
Oh no. Did we lose you, RJon? Can you hear me? Ah.
Yeah, I can still hear you, Carly, and see you. So I
Oh,
think it
there's
might be-
RJon. You're blinking again. Last thing I heard was if your team has had the experience of you blaming them.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
If your team has had the experience of you blaming them, of you criticizing them, of you giving them a hard time when things don't go exactly according to plan, asking them to get on board with helping create something in reality that right now only.
Oh no, RJon, you're frozen again. It's a really fun picture to freeze on.
It always happens that way, doesn't it?
And he's making such a powerful point.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
the Cliffy. It's an RJon Cliffy.
oh man, RJon, you are not coming back on this one. Do you want to head out and come right back in so you can make your point? There we go. So one moment, folks. God, he was on a roll too. I was like really leaning in. Never heard him talk about it this way before. For those in the chat so far, oh, good. He's logging back in. He said, stand by. For those in the chat in attendance, will you let me know, because obviously we want to make sure that this is substantive and really helpful for you too as you're building. Have you gotten a lot of value out of this so far? Are there things that you want to make sure, if I have the chance, that we can cover in a future session? Any particular takeaways, just put them in chat. You can also send them directly to me, but I'm just going to use that information to make sure that we are delivering on our promise to get you the information that is actually going to make a difference as you're building these machines, or this machine, sorry.
I'm back.
Ah, there you are. Okay,
don't
last
know
thing
what
we
happened.
heard
So
was...
restate the question. Let me just start again, because I
So the question was, I've tried building systems before, but I can't get my team to actually follow them. What do you do when you know what needs to happen, but no one else seems to care as much?
Right. So edit this together with what I said before I got cut off, because I don't know where I got cut off. But basically, the long story short of it is, build it yourself first. Don't ask them to jump on board until after you've got the thing built. Right? So in how to manage a small law firm, for example, I have about 100 plus employees. I also have a small skunkworks team. And the small skunkworks team are the people who know me really well and understand that I'm not going to freak out and get upset and flip out and give them a hard time when we try things and they don't work. Right? And I also try a bunch of stuff all by myself that I don't even bother anyone else with. And so I'll bring like a very crude prototype to my skunkworks team and say, here's kind of what I got figured out that I kind of sort of have working or sketched out and diagrammed and planned. And then the skunkworks team says, okay, we see what you have in mind. And they help me get it working as a prototype. And then it's working, and then we can share it with the rest of the team. So what this person is describing, I would suggest, is build it yourself first. It doesn't have to be perfect, but get it working to the point where you can say to your team, you don't have to imagine it. You can look at it, you can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. It's working. And then you can give them pieces of it to take over. And what I was saying when I got cut off was, depending on your level of entrepreneurial maturity, depending on your track record, depending on how much trust you've deposited into the trust bank with your employees, it might be unfair of you to ask them to get on board with your latest experiment. Because, if you're, and you have to be honest with yourself. I don't know who's asking the questions, and I don't know. This might be the greatest person in the world. But it's also possible that you may not have behaved well the last time someone made an honest mistake, and you may have trained them to be reluctant to try new things. So going back to the beginning of today's show, I don't know if we're calling this a show, what we're calling this thing.
Show works.
Going back to the beginning of today's show works, you saw Alex getting some feedback about some of the approaches that he was taking to technology. And some people might have been like, oh, RJon's an asshole. But Alex knows that I don't blame him. In fact, I said, I take 100% responsibility for my part of the problem, right? I could have thought about this stuff ahead of time. I could have planned it out more. I could have discussed it with Alex ahead of time. I could have got here an hour before the show started instead of 5 minutes before the show started, right? So while I'm going to let Alex own his part of the problem, I own my part of the problem, right? And since I'm the owner of the whole company, every problem that every one of my employees has falls under the umbrella of my responsibility. This is part of why I don't have to apologize when I take a month off with emergency access only, because ultimately I'm taking full responsibility for everything, which is why I sweat the details so I can go take a month off at a time. Anyway, there's your answer to that question.
Thank
What's
you.
the next question?
The next question we have is, how do you evaluate ROI on referrals?
Dollars. There's these things called dollars. They go out, they come back. If you put more out than come back, it's a negative ROI. No, I'm being facetious. Look, we talked about this yesterday, that your referral machine ought to have its own P&L, and its own business plan, where you say, we are projecting that 3 years from now, this machine, this business, this P&L should be producing this much revenue every month or every quarter or every year. Yeah. And this is how much we're projecting that it's going to require to fuel the machine. And so 3 years from now, we project this thing will be very, very profitable. Great. What's the plan for 2 years? Great. What's the plan for the end of the year? Great. Do we expect it to necessarily give us a positive ROI in the first quarter? Highly unlikely, right? That's why it's called an investment. You have to calculate in the profit and loss the dollars that go out to third parties. For example, the money spent to attend networking events, the money spent to buy the lunches, the money spent to send the gifts, all that kind of stuff. But there's also a cost of goods sold, labor costs, right? So if you have a person who earns, let's say, $50 an hour, and they're going to invest an hour going to a networking event, there's a cost of $50 to go to the networking event in labor cost over and above the cost of admission and parking and lunch and everything else. And if it's you doing it, you need to figure out which hat you're wearing when you're running and building the referral machine. Should you be wearing the lawyer hat? No, you should not. Should you be wearing the owner of the law firm hat? No, you should not. Should you be wearing the biz dev rainmaker hat? That's the right hat to wear. So whenever you're working with the referral machine, you should be wearing the biz dev, business development rainmaker hat. Well, how much should a good biz dev rainmaker person earn? Let's just say, for argument's sake, I'm not prescribing anything, but I'm just giving an example here, right? And Carly, I'm going to need you with a calculator.
I've already got it up. I assumed this was coming.
Let's say that you are going to decide that your biz dev referral machine manager should have a total compensation package of, let's say, $120,000 a year. $120,000 a year times 1.20, because you got to gross it up for taxes and benefits. What's that, 140,000, 150,000?
144.
Okay, 144,000. I've done this calculation before. I'm not that good at math.
I was gonna say, I was very impressed.
I've done the calculation. So let's say 144,000, right?
Yes.
And let's say that you expect this person to work 46 productive weeks in a year.
Is
144,000 divided by 46 productive weeks in a year is,
$3,130 a week.
and let's say we expect that person to work, to be productive, right? Let's say we expect that person to be productive for, let's say, 35 hours a week. They might work 45 hours a week, but we expect them to be productive 45 hours a week because 10 hours a week is administrative and training and whatever.
That is $89 an hour
Great. So
per productive hour.
So for every hour that the biz dev rainmaker person works on your referral machine costs the firm, let's call it $90. Right? So if they're going to go to a networking event, for example, and they're going to be at the networking event for 3 hours, for example, and they're going to spend 20 minutes following up with a thank you note, and then they're going to go to a meeting, and then they're going to do this, and then they're going to do that, and then you go through all the things they're supposed to do with the person they meet at the referral event, at the networking event, for example. And let's say it all comes together to, I'm just making this up, 5 hours. The cost is
$450.
$450, right? And then let's say they're also going to spend, I'm making this up, another $50 of postage and stamps and little gifts and whatever. I'm just saying $50 to make it a nice even $500, right? And you expect this person to produce at least a 5x ROI, which is how much?
$2,500.
$2,500, right? But you can't say $2,500 of top line gross revenue, right? So you want to say $2,500 worth of profit, not gross revenue, profit. So let's just say the firm operates at 25% profit margin, right? So $2,500
Mm-hmm.
divided by
That's what it is.
0.25
10,000.
divided by 0.25 is $10,000. So this person, this effort should produce $10,000 of gross revenue. $10,000 of gross revenue at a 25% profit margin is
Multiply. 2,500.
2,500. 2,500 divided by 5 is how much?
500.
$500. So you have a business case. This is how you track ROI against a business model. It's the out-of-pocket expense to third parties and vendors, as well as the labor cost of the person who's doing it. And the labor cost needs to be appropriately tied to the role itself.
That was great.
So now, let's say you've got this $120,000 a year biz dev, rainmaker, referral machine manager. Yeah. And they're giving you 35 hours a week of production for 46 weeks a year. And let's say, I'm just making this up, for every 5 hours they invest in something, they bring in $10,000 worth of value, right? How many 5 hours are there in a 35-hour week?
I am not great at math. 7.
All right. So what's 7 times $10,000?
$70,000.
And what's $70,000 times 46 weeks?
$2,250,000. No, hang on. $22,540,000.
No.
No, did I do that wrong?
70,000 times 46 weeks is $3.2 million.
Oh, okay. How did I? Sorry,
I don't
RJon.
know
Yep,
how
you're
you
right.
got anywhere. None of the numbers that you said were anywhere close.
Just
70,000
that last one.
productive weeks is $3,220,000.
Yes.
Right? Bam, there's your $1 million referral machine. Right? Now, these are numbers that I'm pulling out of the air, right? because I don't know your average case value. I don't know your lifetime value. I don't know your actual profit margins. I don't know in your market what you have to invest to hire a full-time dedicated referral machine manager. But if it's anywhere even in the same universe as the numbers I just gave you, you can clearly see how this is $1 million referral machine, right? This isn't a hyperbole. This isn't an exaggeration. This is reality. Big law firms are already doing this. Big law firms have been doing this for decades. This isn't new.
That was perfect. Also, we have a really great resource that breaks down those numbers. I'm going to put my email address here. If anybody would like to send me an email, I will send you that PDF. I think that's a really great button for today, RJon. So let's go ahead and end it
Why
here.
don't you
I
just put
hope
the PDF in the show notes so you don't create a shit ton of extra work for yourself because you got all that extra free time that you have nothing better to do with.
Hey, do we have show notes for this one? I can put it in with our live streams, and I'll put it in the show notes when we publish this as a podcast. But for anybody
Everyone
right
who
now,
sends you an email, Carly, I want you to respond to it on your own free time because I don't want you wasting your
Okay.
time responding to dozens or hundreds of emails when you could just put it in one single place, one single time, and be done with it.
fair enough.
I don't want to pay for inefficiency.
That's fair. Okay. All right, guys, that's what we've got for you today. Log in same time, same place tomorrow, and we'll be here giving you some more great content. I think we're going to go over Bob Berg's 10 feel-good questions tomorrow because we didn't get to that one today, as well as top-of-mind awareness and a bunch of other really great stuff. If there's somebody that should be here that is not here, please feel free to share this link for registration. And we'll see you back here same time
and please
tomorrow.
share the link. The more people who show up for this thing, the more good questions we get and the more value there is for everyone. And then of course it helps promote the book. So please share the link.
Please share the link.
Go to all of the lawyer discussion groups that you participate in. Like if you got any value from anything we've done today, please just give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes to grab that link, go to one of the lawyer discussion groups you participate in and say, hey, I just heard the $1 Million Referral Machine show. It'll be live tomorrow. Here's the link if anyone's interested. That's all you got to do. And I appreciate it.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, we will see you in the morning then. I'll leave this up for just a smidge.